Welcome to Life Biz and All That Jazz, the podcast where real talk meets transformation. If you're navigating your mental health, sobriety, ADHD, or just want to live a life that truly feels like yours, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Jasmine Lashotto, and every week we dive into the raw, the messy, the unapologetic, the unmasking, and creating a life that truly feels like ours. If you're new here, welcome to the family, because that's what we are. We are a family. There is no judgment. There's no shame. There's only support here. And if you've come back for more, thank you for coming back for more. Today's episode is going to be one that I'm really, really excited about because I have really found a supportive environment when it comes to my business and having my own business, when it comes to my mental health, ADHD, supporting my life all around, making my own schedule, having my down days where I just want to stay in bed all day and do nothing, because they are going to happen. That's normal. We're wired that way. It's about accepting that we need rest, and that rest is not a reward. Rest is necessary for growth. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because I found that I will always overcommit myself to want to help the world and save the world. If I do one kind of long episode a week and one shorter episode a week, that's going to really get me through and be able to help me get 2 episodes out, and also just not drain me, because you know what it's like to show up. And even though I'm showing up as truly me and myself, it's that cognitive energy that you only have a certain amount of each day, and you have to accept that you can't just do hours of recording and editing and everything, because that's just not real, Jasmine. So anyway, that's just me oversharing as usual. But today's episode, business ideas. So what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about business ideas that you could do to support your ADHD brain, but also aren't going to burn you out. So they're going to be using key areas of your life that we thrive in, and also are easy to start. You will need to do some type of course for some of them. It's not something that you can just start tomorrow. That's what I want to be honest and transparent about, because it does take time, but it's also using your hyperfocus and using your power of your brain to be able to get there faster. And also not having it as like a hobby that you're just going to get over, because that's what you need to really look at. Because I know how easy it is for us to get really excited about something, hyper-focused, learn about it. Once we've learned about it, implemented it, started the business, we're over it. And that's a big thing with ADHD entrepreneurs, is that we love that strategy. We love building the business. Once it gets to a point where the business is running and it's just plateau and there's no more excitement, it's easy to fall off, but you can learn how to push through that. The reason why I want to share this as well is because I started my business when I didn't know I had ADHD. I had an incline, but the therapist always told me it wasn't. It was high functioning anxiety and depression and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Long story short is I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit, and I've tried to start many businesses. But Wilde Creative, which is my agency, creative agency. So we do social media, content, marketing, all different digital marketing strategy, now a lot of stuff with AI. That's like nearly 6 years in the making. And there's been so many ups and downs. There's been times where I've just stopped, or not stopped fully, but stepped back and readjusted because I felt burnout. And I went back to working casual on weekends at the hotel. I've always had that kind of backup, which has been really, really good, until now, the last couple of years where I've just really been solely on my own. It's hard because some days it'll be well, you don't have any money coming in. You have to really plan for the future. And then again, that can obviously cause a lot of stresses. But then it's also with that unlimiting belief that there's no cap to what I can earn, and there's no cap to what I can do when it comes to my business. And I know that has a lot to do with my ADHD, and really having that belief and knowing how to pivot, and having that delusional aspect of I can achieve that anything that I want to. And that's something that I've really been able to understand when it comes to my ADHD. I've really been able to harness that because of the systems I have in place and my environment and everything that I do daily to support my ADHD brain, to support my mental health. And it all kind of just flows together now. So whereas how the business supports me, I support the business, my podcast, obviously I'm also growing my personal brand. I'm doing so much but it's consistently growing each step instead of just having this chaos where I'm doing all these things and nothing's working. You need to have systems. You need to have systems in place, and you need to know what to work on what specific days, especially for women, time of the month. Trust me, cycle syncing is a game changer. It's not easy to do it every single month. You're going to have deadlines. You're going to have meetings. You're going to have certain things that you need to do at a certain time of the month, but it's possible. You can make it work. I think it's quite funny too, is that like when I talk about business, I get passionate talking about everything, but there's obviously so many sides to my brain and who I am as a person and what I want from my life is that I need to have multiple things going at once to feel happiness, we'll call it. But it's called controlled chaos. I call it controlled chaos because most people would look at my schedule, my daily schedule, and like have a heart attack. There's so much on there, but it's all processed to work. And I am single. I don't have kids. And currently, right now, that is my biggest, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, biggest asset. I'm not saying there's anything against family and kids. I can't wait for that. But I'm in a place right now that I know what I have right now and the life that I have right now is when I need to harness and I need to build as fast as I can. And without the pressure and the overwhelm, the time I've got right now, I'm not a person that's like, oh, I need family. I can't wait to be a mum and a wife. I am so excited for that day. So I don't have anything against it, but that's not my life right now. And there's a moment where you need to just accept that you're on your own path and doesn't matter what society says or what everyone's doing around you. You can have so much joy and happiness in being on your own and having the life that you want to have right now, because at the end of the day, you still have so much time to have that family and have that life. And how I look at it is the first half of my life is my life. And then the next half is going to be for my family. And I don't need to worry about working and losing time with children and you know, not being able to be there 110% because I've built this foundation now. So I really want you to feel like if you are single, that you don't think that you need to have that right now because you've got so many other benefits. And then again, to my mums or my dads that have ADHD and are just trying to get through the day and they are wanting something different, I know that I can only speak from my experience, but I know that there is also so much more that you can have by having the systems, and the children around you can also be supported with that. So let's get into it. The first one I want to talk about is creative services. Now, you're probably thinking that you need to go to university and get a degree. Well, I do. I have two. I have a hotel degree. I have a marketing degree. I'm studying neuroscience now. So I just love to study, but you don't need a degree to start a business and to help people with social media. You need to understand it. You need to learn something. You also don't need a degree to be a content creator. You don't need a degree to film, become a videographer or photographer. The creative services are skills that you can learn on your own, in your own time, while you are working your job. Because there's a lot of things that I learn in my degree that I don't even use. And that's just, I wanted that master's degree. It's not like an end all. At the time, it was for moving into a certain job, and that all changed with COVID. So like I've used it, and there's a lot of things that I learn which go towards the strategy and my business. But what I'm saying is you don't need to have a degree to help someone with their social media. You just need to know what works, the trends, and you need to provide results. And that can be done from a short course. That can be done from learning information off YouTube. And if you are creative in a way that you love to take photos, you love to take your own videos, why don't you start looking at doing that for other people? You need to get good enough that people will pay you to do it, but you also need to understand that you can learn for free. So that's number one. Number two, one of my biggest ones, and this has been something that I've really loved doing myself, is UGC. So user generated content. That is when you film with products, that you show the product, you either show it in use, you might be talking about the product, you might do a testimonial, you might do a first tester. I've started to share some more stuff on Instagram of me like behind the scenes because Wednesdays is my content day. So user-generated content is big right now. And one biggest thing about it is that brands want people who are not professionals. I have to sometimes remember that I'm doing UGC, not a video production for a video ad or YouTube or for someone's social media portfolio, because they want genuine people that are really using their products and are just using them in everyday life. They want that. They want regular people. They want mums. They want kids. They want single people. There's so many things that brands are looking for when it comes to UGC. Number 3, if you have been working on yourself for years and you are at a place right now where you know that you want to share what you've learned, well, you could look at becoming a coach. And I know that coach, online coach and all this stuff has a really negative context to it, but you got to remove that noise. You have to realize that if you have a passion to help people, you will help people. It's not about that outside external noise. It's about that if you have something to share and you think that people can benefit from it, if you've been through a lot and you've come out the other side, you can help people. That's another one. It's not probably my top one that I would recommend, because it can also be a lot to put yourself out there, and it can take a lot of your energy if you're not understanding how to really divert that and make sure that you don't take on people's energy. So that's not my top one, but that's just something. It's one thing that you could think about. And there's a lot of obviously coaching courses. I did a short ADHD coaching course. You really need to know the background of it, I think, as well. And obviously I've done my own research on my own in my own time. And this was just a little addition. I wanted to have a certificate for it and just to have that little bit more of a, stand up than just someone that just does their own research, because you have to you have to be certified in certain things to be able to call yourself a coach. Digital products. People are making thousands of dollars a week selling ebooks about how to cook, how to DIY projects, what was the one I saw the other day? I think it was something to do with some toddler thing, how to toilet train your toddler. There's so many things you could make. Ebooks are a bit outdated. I will say that now, only because I use Claude and I don't really use PDF ebooks anymore. I'm more about creating that interactive guide, mini short courses, but that's only because I've got that experience in AI. So ebooks are still a thing, but digital products, I would say more so. So things that people are searching, there's ways that you can find out with Google. There's Google Trends. You can see what people are talking about. You can make products. You can literally create an Instagram page for this product. You can run ads. There's so many things that you can do when it comes to digital products. Courses. You can create courses on your own and sell them. And then you can later on approach people and make courses for other people in the industry. That's just throwing it out there. Another big thing as well is you see on Etsy, there's so many templates that people want. A lot of people don't have time to create their own Canva or using the Adobe suites to make a beautifully designed poster for a baby shower or, a wedding and all this stuff. And I know you're probably having this doubt of being oh, this seems like a lot. This is too hard. Where do I start? I'm giving you the tips. You need to just go out there and start Googling steps or reach out to me if you want more information. There's obviously a lot of advice that I can share now, but if you're really, really interested in it, let me know and I'll let you know how else I can help you. Another big thing as well is working with people who are in your space. Right now, I can't hire anyone. I don't have that capability, but there's so many things that I want to do in the future. But when I do hire people, no offense to my neurotypicals, I'm not saying I'm never going to hire one, but it's having that community and having the people around you and knowing that neurodivergence, we have a different way of thinking. And I'm probably going to get a little bit of backlash for that, but sorry, I just had to say it. It's not that I want to ever leave anybody out, because I know that we have always felt left out and felt like we are the outsiders, but we are all our own people and everyone has their own benefits to life and what they can give to people and just in general, living. But I think the biggest thing that I want you to realize is that surrounding yourself with people that really understand you and see you is going to help you professionally, socially, and so much more. And you'll also have your neurotypical friends, because I have them, but they see me for me and they love that about me and they are so open-minded. And that's kind of I'm lucky that way, but I haven't always been, because I also have people around me that don't actually understand me at all. And it's not that that's their fault. They just don't have that level of awareness, and we can't do anything about that. You can't. You're always going to have that in your life. So they are, the final one, kind of like, say, for example, if you love working with other people. So ideas when it comes to working with people in the industry is like events, community spaces. You could start off with volunteering and retreats and stuff like that. You see someone online that's doing retreats for people with ADHD or mental health or sobriety and all this stuff. And if you're sober, reach out to them. You never know. They might have a time where they have events coming up where they need help and support. And it might only be a little bit to start with, but you can really build that. And that's kind of like that portfolio that you'll have. But if you do want more information on any of these, let me know. Reach out, ask me any questions that you want. What I've explained, each of these really supports ADHD traits: hyperfocus, creativity, variety, and high empathy. If you could have all those ticked off on something that you do, can you imagine? Because I can only share how much my life has changed by doing what I'm doing. And it's always going to be a time too where you will need to learn to be able to sacrifice, and you need to understand that there's going to be ups and downs, because like I said, sometimes I will be like, no money coming in this week. So you have to like kind of plan and make sure you've got like savings. And it's also very hard to have savings when you're constantly trying new ventures and you want to put things out there, or if you've got a mortgage and life expenses. So it's a bit of a learning curve at the start, but once you do start and you do build, and I'm 5 years in, nearly 6 years in. So I'm talking from someone that has had years of experience and years of ups and downs, but it's possible. And what you start today will be your life in a few years' time. There's going to be parts of this as well where you're going to hyper-focus. You're going to get really excited. You're going to have this massive business plan. You're going to start the business plan. You're going to do all that fun stuff. You're going to do all that dopamine hits. And then you're going to get to a point where the boring. Okay, now it's boring. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to move on to the next tip that Jasmine told me. Well, we have systems for that. We need to be able to see that boring is going to come. But when you get bored, you need to pivot. You need to pivot and change the way. So if you get to a point where you want to start something new, you need to have a look at how you're currently doing that part of the project, or where you're sitting at in that part of the project, and see how you can make it more exciting. And it's not going to be easy. I can't like give you exact examples now, but if you are also like, if you are a business owner and you're plateauing right now and you're stuck and you can't get through, or you're just wanting to start something else and give up, let me know, because I'd love to like brainstorm with you to see where you're at, to kind of see what part of it you think's boring that someone else from the outside, like myself, might be able to help. So let me know with that. But so the boring parts, that's going to be something that comes around, but it's really having the systems in place to know that you need to push through. Bigger things as well, I think it's just reframing the way that you're doing the task is another thing. Having your goal in your face every single day, knowing what you're working towards. I've got my vision board, which has like my goals and stuff. I've got heaps of van stuff on there, which is my current thing that I'm working towards. I think it sometimes can be really hard for me to explain things because I'm in the middle of it. I'm in that phase where I've learned to push through the boredom. So I don't want to be telling you all these things to do where for me it's kind of just happened, but the best advice I can give you is you need to reframe the way that you're doing a task. And I'm going to try and explain that. The best way that I can. So, all right, you've started a social media business and you're at the stage now where everything's done. You've done your logo, you've done your branding colors, you've got your website, you've started the Instagram, you started posting on Instagram. Now everything's done. Now that's all done. It's quiet. You're not getting any leads. You're running ads. You're not getting any conversions. Nothing. You've got nothing to do other than keep creating more content or reaching out to people. That, to me, I love the creating content part is fun, but when you're posting and if you're not getting traction, because that will happen, that's when you're like, well, nothing's happening. I've got no money coming in. This is boring now. I've built the business. I've got it to a point. I've launched. Now I'm like bored. So the way that I would reframe that is networking. Networking's a big one. jump on start learning more, learning how you can like bring more to it. So that's going to bring out your hyperfocus. And I think as well is kind of doing a bit of a, say, roadmap, like a 6-month roadmap. All right, here I am right now. I'm feeling stuck and bored, but if I continue on for one more month of posting consistently, twice a day, however many posts you can do, then in 1 month time, I'll be here, followers. So it's kind of like looking forward to those next goals without being there, but creating that excitement and that like false excitement I'm kind of trying to get to. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm going to put some more details in the show notes for this because I'm in a bit of a mind block of how to explain this. And this episode I didn't really plan. I just kind of like wanted to wing and just share from like a real like my experience. So forgive me for that, but the show notes will have more details. For my biggest wins when it comes to my business is creating my own schedule, being able to literally do whatever I want during the day and making so many different parts. I think as well, because I've got so many projects going on and so many different brands, that's really that excitement for me is that I do have my agency, but then I do have the podcast. Then I do have Jasmine Lashotto's coaching, which is ADHD coaching, sobriety support. So I've got so much going on that every single day I can make it a different day. So I have a theme for each day of the week. And then I've obviously got my client work, and my client work, that's a big thing too, because I've got different clients in different sectors and they all need different things from me. So we're always working on something else. I'm doing a lot of video content now. So there's so many things as well, which having that variety will help motivate you. But you need to know that too much variety, if you can't contain it, is just going to be noise and you're not going to have the right progress. That's a big win that I've had. Now, a big fail is not having the systems in place and just trying too many things and changing too often. When I first started, this is funny because when I first started Wilde, my agency is Wilde Creative Agency. So it started off as Wilde Digital Agency. We've had probably 5-6 different branding changed. I've tried so many random things. Like I just used to do like this big design. I'd do hard launches, like I was launching a boyfriend, and I would just think that like because my idea was great that everyone else is going to love it, and it just doesn't work like that. And it's that having that emotion. I remember when my first branding was like monochrome, like a rainbow. And I laugh now because it's changed so much. But at that time, I really liked that. And a friend was really honest with me and she said it's just not there. And she's into that branding space. So I was really lucky to have that. But that's the thing is so many things change before I really just was like, no, consistency is key. So consistency is key over creativity sometimes, because you might want to be so creative and like try new things. If you want to build a brand, you have to be consistent and the people need to know who you are throughout that stage of the business. So that's like kind of a fail that I did at the start, is changing too many times. And also another big thing as well is don't be afraid to build while you've got a full-time job. Don't be afraid that if you get your business to a certain stage that you go back to what you're doing before or get another job, a casual or part-time job to help support you through a slow phase or through a repivot, because you're better off doing that. And that's just the thing that you're going to have with your ego, because I didn't mind going back to hotels and working as a casual receptionist because it paid me good money because I was working on weekends. And number two, like I already knew the job, so it wasn't taking out much energy. I think there's so many pros to being able to have that and having a backup. And also, I guess another thing, I probably wish I planned more ahead. I had more savings before I dropped back to casual, because at the time was during COVID and there was a real pivot and I was obviously going to move into marketing. That's what I studied in the hotel chain, but then I couldn't. So I started my business during COVID because there were so many businesses that needed help with marketing. So I did that on the side, and then that ended up being my full-time, and the hotels were the side. But I wish that maybe I stayed full-time and pushed through doing that at nights and weekends, the business building a bit longer. because I kind of just like dropped back to casual, and then my savings kind of went back, and I just felt like I had more pressure on myself to like get more client work, and I took on more client work, but then I was doing it cheaper, but I had more work and it burnt me out. So that's one thing, is like trying to have the savings, or like even cut down your expenses as the best that you can. So that's probably like my little wins and fails that I can really think of right now. I'll try and think of some more. I think a big thing as well is it's got to be stability over excitement. And that's something that you will need to work on, and it's something that you will need to process through the journey. But having stability is going to be more important than excitement. And then that's again going to intertwine with learning to get through that boredom stage. But once you're aware of it, if you know that you're getting to that, having those steps in place of how can I reframe this task to make it more exciting? Now we're going to be building towards the next month goal. Let's talk about this goal and let's get excited about what our work that we're doing today is going to produce in a month's time. It's kind of like that visualizing the future without it even being here, but having that internal excitement to know that the boring tasks today are going to get us to this next stage. And then we're going to have more excitement. We're going to have more clients. We're going to have more work. We're going to be able to do more events, or like whatever area you want to go in. We're going to be able to create more digital products. Like I'm going to use the examples that I've spoke about today. That's a wrap on today. It's longer than what I expected to do, but that's what always happens. Thank you for listening. I'll share more in the show notes. Follow me on socials because I'll be sharing so much more on there as well. Obviously, there's the 3 brands, so I'll add the 3 below. Follow whichever way you want to. I share the podcast shorts on life, biz, and all that jazz. Jasmine Lashotto is a lot to do with ADHD and sobriety, and Wilde Creative is my business, my content that I do, content creation, AI, everything when it comes to my agency. Whatever you feel like is going to help you, go ahead and let's connect. Thanks again for listening. Remember, it's progress, not perfection, as you can see on my wall. And you are not broken, you are becoming. And the next episode, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the science-backed data when it comes to alcohol and our brain. So this is not necessarily just going to be focused on ADHD. It's actually going to talk about what happens when we stop drinking and how long it takes for us to get back what we lost from the time that we were drinking, whether it's 1 drink a week, 2 drinks a week, 10 drinks a week. Every single drink has an effect, and we're going to discuss that. So see you in the next episode.